What is going on, everyone? Misha Wilson here, and welcome to another episode of Marketing with Misha. Let me know what your name is and where you are coming in from in the chat box down below this little Facebook Live, and I'll get the show on the road when I see someone hops in. Wow, it's actually really windy out here. I'm gonna head into the office. Actually, it looks like it just died down. Let me know what your name is and where you're coming in from, and I'll get the show on the road. Actually, give me a quick yes in the comments box below if you can hear me clearly, and if I see some yeses coming in, I will stay out here and I know we'll be good to go. Today I want to talk about the number one biggest mistake, the number one sin of marketers, and something that leaves hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table for people through not going ahead and really monetizing correctly. So cool, I got 10 people on here with me. Let me know, can you hear me clearly? Is the wind too much? Looks like I'm good. Yes, you're good. Can't hear you clearly, and cool. With that said, I will go ahead and get the show on the road. So again, today I want to talk about the number one sin of online marketers, people just going ahead and starting with their online businesses. And I'll tell a little story that I've told before, and I'll tell it again through a different context to illustrate a different lesson. Back when I was first getting started, I remember I'd been told over and over and over again, the money's in the list, the money's in the list, the money's in the list, the money's in the list. Build an email list, build a following, build an email list. Once you build an email list, you'll be set for life. I'd been told some variation of that lesson over and over and over again. And it got to a point where I was just completely and totally obsessed with building that email list, right? And I knew that I had to build a relationship with that email list. I knew once I started to generate leads, I need to build a relationship with that email list. And so my plan immediately became to simply, again, start teaching and providing value, providing content to that list. Now, don't get me wrong, you should always provide value. You should position yourself as the authority by teaching with your marketing. You should do all of those things. But what I did for the next year or so, for the next 6 months or so, was simply every single day teach a different how-to lesson. Every single day, teach a different piece of content, giving value on some lesson when it comes to marketing. Every single day, the only thing I did was send them back to my blog to learn that next thing that I had just learned, right? And that's awesome. Again, you should be doing it in some of your marketing. But what I didn't understand at the time is the difference between teaching in a way that's entertaining and teaching in a way that's educational. And at that time, I was teaching solely in a way that's educational. All I was doing was, giving them the step-by-step 1, 2, 3 checklist of things they should be taking action on. All I was doing was essentially creating a textbook of marketing material with my marketing that people could check out if they hit my blog posts. All I was doing with my marketing was literally, essentially trying to be a dictionary myself, expecting that if I was the dictionary, if I was the thing that had all the information, if I was the thing that could provide more resources to people, could provide, more lessons and more valuable information in the, educational format, people would tune in, people would follow, people would, again, want to go through all of my, valuable pieces of content. And that was one of the biggest letdowns I ever had. That was one of the biggest, frustrations I ever had, because after about 6 months of doing so, after about 6 months of, lesson after lesson after lesson after lesson, how to create a YouTube video, how to create a YouTube annotation, how to write a solo ad, how to, select solo ad vendors, how to create a bridge page, how to write a bridge page script, everything you can think of. After 6 months of that nonstop, I had literally almost 0 people on my list opening my emails. I had almost 0 people on my list reading my emails. I had, literally at one point an email list of 9,000 people that I was getting 0 clicks from with my actual marketing. And again, it was just one of the, biggest letdowns, because I had been taught over and over and over again that once I did that, once I built my list, and once I built a relationship with my list, with those strategies, I would have this asset that would pay me for life, right? And what I forgot was the number one sin in marketing, which is very simply and very bluntly to not be boring, all right? The number one thing I was doing to my list every single day was boring them to death. The number one thing that I was doing is I was focusing on just educating in a very, dictionary-like step 1, step 2, step 3 process style of teaching that provided no entertainment. It provided no outlet for them to just escape their day-to-day, life that they're in right now that they might be looking to get rid of or get out of. And I really just kind of expected, based on me providing good value with my marketing, that they would want to, again, take that value in. And again, it was one of those things that when I learned to, again, be entertaining, and it's one of those things that to be entertaining, what is to be entertaining? And really it's, again, about using stories. It's about tying in different, parables with stories, lessons with stories, bringing people behind the scenes, teaching, but teaching through the context of a story, like I just did with the story of providing too much value and the result of providing too much value. But when I learned to be just a little bit more entertaining, to be a little bit different than everybody else, to instead of just, create a different video on how to, shoot a bridge page video, I, brought people into my world. I told them a little bit about me. I told them, a little bit about what I was dealing with. I told them a story that illustrated a certain point, and I just focused on providing them a little outlet on a daily basis when it comes to, a little bit of entertainment, a little bit of, value in the actual context of a story. And give me a quick yes if you guys can hear me. The wind is distracting me here. I'm actually gonna go inside. But when I made that adjustment and when I started to, again, instead of being so educational in my marketing, just be a little bit different than everybody else by being a little bit more entertaining, by saying that thing that that other person might not be willing to say, by, if I feel like using a cuss word in my marketing, using a cuss word in my marketing, by, again, bringing people into my world and letting people know who I am, what I'm all about, what my backstory is, what my pains were when I was first getting started, what struggles I dealt with when I was first getting started, when I focused again on really getting an infinite knowledge for who they were, who the people were that were actually opening my emails, what pains and desires and fears they were facing on a daily basis in their business, and then touching on those different pains and desires and fears in a again, educational format, in a non-textbook step 1, step 2, step 3 format. Sooner or later, people started to open my emails. Sooner or later, people started to read my emails. Sooner or later, people started to click the links in my emails. And again, I started to get response. I started to build a following. I started to build an audience. I started to build a relationship with that audience. And based on those things, I then had an asset that would pay me for life. Again, so the moral of the story is very simple, all right? If you're constantly, and I see so many people doing it on a daily basis, if you're constantly just teaching, if you're constantly just leading with, this is how to do 1, 2, 3. This is step 1, step 2, step 3, how to create a blog post, YouTube video, podcast episode. This is how to, shoot a bridge page script, all things that I've taught on in the past. If you're just leading with that type of information, you're extremely boring. You're just like the other 10,000 marketers that are doing that exact same thing. On average, people just read about 1 book per year. 1 book per year, they listen to about 6 to 7 hours of TV per day, watch about 6 to 7 hours of TV per day. And again, if you're trying to tap into just giving them more education, just giving them more bland education without entertainment, without your stories intertwined, without, again, being a little bit different, without being a little bit polarizing. And for those Maui Intensive or All-In members, you guys will learn about the attractive character. It's in, of course, the Maui Intensive online curriculum, and then we go over it at the actual live event. If you're not tying in your attractive character, again, you're just coming off as another boring marketer. You're just coming off as someone who should tune out. People should tune out. And you're just coming off as someone who, again, at the end of the day, is, looking to provide value, but really only looking to provide value usually in order to go ahead and make a sale as a result of providing that value, which people see through very quickly. And when they see through that very quickly, they begin to become immune to it. And they begin to tune out with all of their various marketing. So that's my message for you here today. So Darth, good to see you, man. How are you? Give me some likes, comments, hearts, shares, all that stuff if you guys get value. And I do know it's a little bit of a weird concept. It's one that's interesting for me to teach on here with these Facebook Lives because I don't really have time to go in depth when it comes to how to be entertaining, when it comes to how to be different, when it comes to not being boring, how to market in a way that isn't actually boring. And again, it would be a little bit more of an advanced masterclass. We might do that at some point in time when it comes to really the different elements of your marketing that you need to have, and then tie in and work in all of your different elements of your marketing in order to not be perceived of as boring. But for all of you Maui Intensive and All-In members, we will of course cover that at the actual live intensive retreat, and it's in your actual online curriculum. Check out the attractive character training. And then from there, let me know with a quick yes in the comments box if there would be demand for that actual style of training. And if I get enough yeses coming in, I will of course make it happen and see if I can provide some more value with that specific training. So appreciate all you guys. Give me some likes, comments, hearts, shares, all that jazz. If you guys got value, don't be boring in your marketing. Remember, more educational how-to, more blog posts, more step-by-step checklists, all that stuff is good in moderation, but too much of it, and you're essentially, positioning yourself as a dictionary instead of an entertaining novel for people to read. And at the end of the day, people don't sit down and read dictionaries. People go to dictionaries when they need one piece of information, but then they sit down and they watch movies. They sit down, they read novels. They sit down and they tune into fiction because, again, it's that much more entertaining. And at the end of the day, if you're entertaining, people will tune in. So hope you guys got value. Give me some likes, comments, hearts, shares if you did. And talk to you guys very soon. All right, guys, later.